Thought I'd do a COVID update since it's been a pretty massive week for New Zealand. So we're at 1,451 total cases, of which 360, I think it is, are still active. So everyone else is recovered, or unfortunately 16 deaths. Most of those deaths related to retirement villages, rest homes, which is quite unfortunate. That it has prompted a sort of investigation into how our retirement villages are running, which is long overdue, I believe. There's been I've had a bit of negative press here and there for ages, just on how our elderly are being treated. So, silver lining, I guess. And yeah, this week was the historic decision was made as to when New Zealand would come out of lockdown. So originally it was 4 weeks. They said basically, and this is quite important, they said initially that New Zealand would go into lockdown for at least 4 weeks. Now lots of people took that to mean 4 weeks. We would be in lockdown for 4 weeks and then we'd come out of lockdown. And so there's been a lot of upset people because the decision was made to extend by 5 days, which is only 2 business days, because 3 of those days, 2 are the weekend and 1's Anzac Day. And the very wise decision was made that we're better off in lockdown for Anzac Day, because otherwise people are going to travel like crazy. So today is Friday, so we've got the weekend and Anzac Day, and then we go on to level 3, which is still pretty restrictive, but they reckon 500,000 people will be able to go back to work, so just get the economy going. Some kids will be going back to school, year 10 and below, and they'll only be physically attending schools if it's not possible for them to stay at home because their parents are going to work. And people going back to work, if possible, they'll be working from home as well. So it's the big sort of I guess the public view of this, and some shitty politicians have basically said it's level 4 with KFC. So food joints will be able to do delivery only. And yeah, so the way that I see that is the people required to make the food and do that operation will obviously have to go into the restaurant, let's say KFC in this example, but there'll be a lot of peripheral people who then, because KFC's bringing in money, they'll be able to go back to work too, and some of them might be able to do their job from home. So, I don't know, KFC's payroll person, for example. Come on, buddy. So yeah, that's quite exciting. For us, it means that moving companies are opening back up again, and I have contacted the government and sort of had the tentative go ahead for us to do our move to Christchurch. My main problem is that I've been able to contact a heap of other moving companies, but not the one we've actually signed up with and paid, which is deeply frustrating and a little bit worrisome, because if they've gone under, I don't know if we'll be getting our money back. But I think I just need to be patient, wait till Tuesday, and then hopefully we'll have some action. But if necessary, I have backup companies lined up so that we can say, all right, well, you guys give us a refund and we're going to do the move with someone else. So I think for me, and probably for a lot of people, patience is the big challenge of all of this. It seems to me that lots of people have kind of settled into lockdown. There's lots of people who have found other jobs like I have and are kind of, comfortable enough. So whether it's on the unemployment benefit or the wage subsidy, or they've found other jobs, they've got an income stream, and they, have everything they need at home. There's, great ways to keep in touch with people. And I'm not by no means does everyone have this. There's certainly people who are, suffering depression, although in saying that, John Kerwin's launched a depression app which is free for New Zealanders, and they're pushing that really hard to help Kiwis out with their mental health. But yeah, quite a few people I've talked to are sort of in the position where they're comfortable, settled in to do this for a while, but really want to go back to normal. And I think nobody's under the illusion that things will be normal anytime soon, but taking steps towards normal is really important. So yeah, for me that's moving to Christchurch and saving myself $200 a week in rent, and probably finishing up at my night shift at the supermarket and probably starting another supermarket job that isn't night shift. If I can get into it, I'm now thinking, it's quite interesting. I was interviewed, and several of the people at work were interviewed by Sunday TV show, and they kind of did a piece on people who are just making massive job changes as a result of this, because they interviewed a couple of flight attendants. Obviously there's no flying anymore. They interviewed me from a police recruit perspective. Police have put on hold all recruitment for non-essential regions, so basically everywhere apart from Auckland. So my recruitment has just gone on hold. And someone in the events industry, and that's gone burgers, so he's in the supermarket as well. And it was quite interesting doing that, because it did make me think about pivoting and how, basically for me, I never thought about working in supermarkets in that industry, and now it's something that I'm actively looking into. So I think a big important thing for New Zealanders, and probably for the whole world through this, is being open to finding a job that's completely different, because lots of jobs have disappeared and will continue disappearing, but there will be other jobs that appear to replace them, not necessarily one for one. So they're estimating that unemployment could go up into the double digits percentage wise, which is massive. Some people mistakenly understand that to mean that those people have no money at all, but the unemployment benefit continues to exist, and I wouldn't be surprised if the government does something in addition to that. But yeah, there are jobs out there. People just sort of have to go for them really and fill them, because my job, they're asking us to do longer hours, more shifts. So yeah, there's work out there. It's probably just not the work you want necessarily, but that's not to say it can't turn into something you enjoy, and something that offers a career. Or it could just be a temporary fix until things start coming back to normal. One of the flight attendants at work, she's pretty adamant that she's going to be a flight attendant again one day, which, good on her, but it'll be a long journey, which is where sort of patience comes in. I had already, kind of before all this happened, I have already been working on dealing with patience and waiting, because the police process is quite long, various other bits and bobs. I've had to be quite patient, and a quote that I quite like, or a saying or a phrase, is that patience is concentrated strength, and it really is. You have to really work at it, and I think that'll be a big challenge for lots of people, is just waiting, and I guess trusting that they'll get their lives back eventually, and not knowing when adds to the difficulty of the situation. So yeah, finding silver linings then becomes pretty important, and also just actively trying to be grateful as well, and actively trying to be positive and happy. And the one other thing I wanted to talk about from this update is, because the thing that's changed in all of this is politics is back on. So we had this wonderful, I'm going to say it was a 3-week period, where the whole government, people in charge, the opposition, everybody got behind the lockdown, acknowledged the science, acknowledged the economics, agreed that this was what we needed to do, and just that everyone should hunker down and do it, because it's for the best of everyone. And now that since our new cases have been below double digits every day, so basically we're past the worst of it. It seems pretty conclusive that the virus is dying out. Politicians are taking the opportunity to undermine everything we've done to date, and say it was an overreaction, and say that we should be going back to normal now, and all of this stuff, which is really disappointing. And there has been some reporting on it saying, well, look, we need people to question the government, and we can't all just hop on and agree and smile and think this is great. We need people who ask questions, and who pose that opposing view, and totally get behind that. But there are some things that are too important to be undermined just for the sake of undermining them. If something's a really good idea and everyone agrees on it, then you don't really need your devil's advocate in there, because what happens is you're just causing upset for a bunch of people who can't do anything about the decision. So there's one camp of people who will believe the opposition, believe that it's an overreaction, and it'll basically be bad for their mental state, the fact that we don't even need to be in this. Thank you. We don't even need to be in this lockdown. Why am I stuck inside? That makes me sad. And then there'll be the camp of people who go, we don't need to be in this lockdown. I'm not going to. I'm going to go out and do something stupid. And yeah, so that's been happening. There's been some good critical thinking, like Ashley Bloomfield, who's the hero of all of this. He's the sort of cult hero of New Zealand right now, and he's launching all sorts of investigations into his own department, health department, to identify where things could have been done better. So stuff like that is going on, but I think there's quite an important difference between doing a thorough investigation and report on how we could have done it better and scaremongering by saying, and this gets bandied about quite a lot, the damage we're doing to the economy isn't worth it for the number of lives we're saving. That's a thing that people are saying, and it's just so wrong. It completely overlooks the whole what we're trying to do here, because the only reason that we've had so few deaths is because we've acted. So saying, oh yeah, only 16 people have died, is it worth it for the damage to our economy? They're completely overlooking all of the people who would have died had we not done this. Because if you're looking at, say, 20,000 people dead, suddenly it's a different picture. So anyhow, that's very frustrating, and fortunately there's not heaps of it, but there are definitely some political players playing their part and sort of stirring up some discontent, which is unfortunate, because it's a hard enough thing to get through as it is. But we're getting there, and it's looking really positive for New Zealand. I think we only had 3 new cases yesterday, so we've been sitting around, I think it might have been 5 before that and 8, and the transmission rate of the virus is 0.48 or something. So basically it is dying out as far as our testing can tell. So as Jacinda says, we need to stay the course, and New Zealand will be back up and kicking in a relatively short time compared to other countries who are being decimated. States, UK, it's looking pretty bad for lots of people. So yeah, feeling very positive this end. Really happy with what we've done, and hoping that we can continue on this positive trajectory.